This is a piece that we revised last time. You can kind of see where the armhole on this piece is starting to wrap around to the back like a set-in sleeve would be. But in the back here, it actually runs into a raglan seam. So what you're noticing in the front here is a lot of bunching. And we definitely want to get rid of that on the piece so that when you're in the ride position, you don't feel all that fabric in the front. And so what we're going to do today is a sleeve rotation on this new sleeve cap. It's a little bit of an experiment for us, and we're going to bring you along on the ride. So the first thing I usually have to do when I do a sleeve rotation is I always want to mark where all of the seams are currently, so that when I cut the sleeve off and rotate it, I can tell exactly where it used to be versus where it's going to be next. And I'm going to have you go ahead and take this off for me. So we're just going to go ahead and fully snip this sleeve right off. And this is where our fit models and my developer team and the lab team, they all have to put a lot of trust in me that I know what I'm doing when I'm cutting their garments into pieces. Throw that guy back on. All right, go back down in the right position. Okay. So what starts to become really apparent when you do this is that the body will usually naturally relax. We still have quite a bit of fabric up front, kind of in this wrinkled area. But you'll also notice like this mark here that was down here is actually matching up to where the sleeve naturally wants to be way up here. So by rotating this sleeve cap and putting it where it naturally wants to sit on your arm when you're in the ride position, we're going to be able to kind of force you into that ride position when you're in this piece. And that's what a lot happens when we start to hear feedback on like SLR jerseys and SL Air jerseys that fit really compressive tight. And when people are trying them on in the shops, they feel like they can't stand up in them maybe, or maybe they're really uncomfortable in those pieces when they're not in the ride position. And as you can kind of tell, like we're doing that on purpose on some of these pieces so that when you are in the ride position, you're the most comfortable possible. And we don't really intend for you to wear those pieces while you're walking around, kind of wandering around the mall. So not that anybody wanders around the mall anymore. So what I'll do here is just reattach the sleeve at the points where it wants to be. You can kind of start to see too where this is overlapping the body, where the sleeve and the body are overlapping a lot. I'm going to start to fold this over to take away this fabric, which will help remove a lot of these wrinkles. Okay, go back down. So once we manipulate the pattern to take out this curve here that's in the front, and then take this sleeve, what we end up actually doing is moving some of this sleeve cap shape from the front to the back. So we kind of shift that mass, and it allows you to fill in that mass from your back shoulder, and then where you don't need it on your front shoulder because you're actually scrunching into the ride position, it helps to eliminate that fabric here. So again, if you were sitting up, go ahead and sit up. This will start to look and feel really tight on the garment and on the body. And we kind of want to see that, like that's a little bit normal. And what we actually also want to see, if you can kind of, you want to start to see this little bit of sleeve cap bubble in the back when he's sitting up, so that it means that when he moves his arm forward, all of that gets used and it starts to smooth out. So what we would do here then is take all of the markings that I originally took and measure how far they are from where they moved. So if this moved back about an inch from where the original mark was, we would ask our factory to rotate that sleeve cap an inch and send us a new prototype. And that's how we do those kinds of really odd, weird sleeve cap fittings to make sure that you guys are super comfortable in the ride position.